The frozen world. The planet Nereth was a world of snow and silence. A hostile moon orbiting the dying gas giant Revex 7, Nereth was known more for its blizzards and ancient ice ruins than any diplomatic significance. That was before war reshaped everything. When the Arvax Empire invaded the central systems, minor colonies like Nereth became afterthoughts. Refugee camps for displaced nobles, military outposts barely manned, and whispered graves for those forgotten by peace talks and power struggles. The Princess of Valeria, Amira Solen, was among those forgotten, widowed, hunted, and left for dead with her 2 children. Until he came. Part 1. The Stranger in the Storm. Talon Vance was no savior. Not in the traditional sense. A former salvage tech and ex-mercenary. He'd seen enough of war to want nothing to do with politics or royalty. He'd come to Nereth to scavenge an old Federation relay buried beneath the glacier crust, hoping to sell its AI core for enough credits to disappear somewhere warm. But fate has a way of finding those who try to hide. The blizzard that swallowed his skimmer came out of nowhere. Visibility vanished in seconds. Instruments failed. Then a V-beacon blinked in and out like a dying heartbeat. That's when he saw them. 3 figures stumbling through the snow. 1 tall, cloaked in tatters. 2 smaller, struggling to walk. He nearly passed them by. But something, an instinct, a memory, a whisper of who he used to be, made him stop. He wrapped them in thermal blankets, brought them aboard his skimmer, and activated emergency heat. The woman was half-conscious. Her children clung to her, trembling and frostbitten. Only when she spoke did he realize who she was. "I am Amira Solen," she rasped. "Princess of Valeria. Please, protect them." Part 2. A Royal Secret. For 3 days they rode out the storm. Talon watched her recover in silence, slowly regaining strength. Her children, Milo and Kira, adapted faster, exploring the skimmer's narrow confines and asking endless questions about engines and stars. Amira, however, remained cautious. Regal even in weakness. She thanked him for saving them, but never expected trust or comfort. Only when Talon found the bounty chip in her satchel did the truth surface. Her head was worth 50,000 credits. Dead or alive. "I don't care about your title," Talon growled, tossing the chip onto the dashboard. "But you bring heat like that around me and I do care. Who's after you?" She stared at him, eyes hollow. "Everyone. My husband's death left a power vacuum. My advisors betrayed me. They sold our location. My guards, they turned on us. Why Nereth? Because it was forgotten." She looked at her children, sleeping curled together under blankets. But not forgotten enough, it seems. Part 3. The Choice. They couldn't stay. Talon's skimmer was running low on fuel cells. They were too far from any major outpost, and Nereth's storms made long-distance travel suicidal without a beacon. Talon offered a deal. "There's an old science station in the Crystal Valley, buried under 60 feet of ice, abandoned since the collapse. If the generators still work, we can send a burst signal to the Federation. Might even find weapons or medical supplies." Amira hesitated. "And then I take you and the kids somewhere safe. After that, you're free to do whatever royal stuff you want. I don't want your bounty. I just want off this rock." "Why?" He shrugged. "Because I've been the one left behind. It sucks." Part 4. The Long Walk. The trip to the station took 2 days on foot. They wrapped themselves in heat suits. Talon carried Kira on his back for half the journey. Milo, braver than his years, insisted on walking. They encountered ice wolves the first night, silent white-furred predators that circled their camp. Talon shot one with a plasma bolt and kept watch till dawn. The second day, they found a graveyard of Federation mechs, remnants of an old skirmish buried under frozen dust. Kira asked, "Were they heroes?" Talon paused. "Some of them." They reached the station at nightfall. Frozen doors. Rusted scaffolding. But it still stood. And deep inside, the power core still pulsed. Part 5. The signal. It took hours to reroute the comms. The signal array had frozen over and the databanks were corrupted. But Talon was persistent. He patched together a coded distress signal, embedded with a Federation encryption key older than most of the current fleet captains. "Won't guarantee anything," he muttered, soldering a panel shut. "But it's better than shouting into the storm." Amira stepped beside him. "I know you didn't have to do this. For me. For them." Talon looked at her, the frozen light flickering across her face. "I didn't do it for you," he said. "I did it because it's right." They stared at each other for a long time. Then the console pinged. Signal sent. And they waited. Part 6. The betrayal. 2 days later the ship arrived. But it wasn't Federation. It was Empire. Arvak's insignia. Black ships. No response to hails. They tracked the signal. Followed it. They'd come for the bounty. Talon grabbed his rifle. "We have to move. Now." But the kids were tired. Amira was exhausted. And there was no exit. So Talon did something reckless. He activated the station's defense grid. An old, unstable Aegis cannon still connected to the upper dome. He rigged it to overload. And then he handed Amira a NAV chip. "This'll lead you to a Federation outpost 2 clicks north. It's buried but still active. I fixed the beacon last time I was there." She stared at him. "Come with us." He smiled softly. "They're here for you. But they'll see me. That's what wild dogs do. They chase noise." "Talon." He leaned down and kissed Kira's forehead. Fist bumped Milo. And looked at her one last time. "I'll buy you 10 minutes. Then he ran out into the snow. Gun blazing. Part 7. Something happened. The cannon overloaded. The station exploded in a wave of light and fire, melting the ice ridge and scattering debris across the valley. No body was found. No heat signature. The Empire left, thinking their prize and their threat was gone. But Amira and the children made it to the outpost. A week later, a Federation cruiser arrived. She told them everything. The bounty was revoked. Her titles restored. Her children honored. But when she asked them to search the valley, they found something strange. Not a body, but a symbol, burned into the ice like a brand. 2 intersecting stars. Talon's old mercenary mark. And embedded next to it, a small chip. Federation intel. Full of codes, locations, secrets. Enough to topple the Empire's communication grid. She smiled through tears. "He said he wanted to disappear," she whispered. "But he always left a trail." Epilogue: The Wild Star. Years later they told stories of the Wild Star, a rogue fighter who struck Empire outposts from the shadows. Never caught. Never seen. Some said he was a ghost. Others said he'd fused with Neretha's AI and become something else. But in a quiet corner of a rebuilt palace, 2 children kept a tattered old rifle mounted on the wall. And a princess, no longer widowed, no longer powerless, looked to the stars each night, waiting, hoping. 'Cause sometimes something does happen. Sometimes the one you think is gone is still out there, still saving. Still watching. The return. 3 months passed. Amira was no longer just a survivor. She was a symbol. She took her rightful place as the voice of the refugees, the scattered nobility, and the commoners crushed under the weight of war. The Federation backed her, not for her title, but for her resolve. Her children, once fragile and lost, now trained with elite tutors and soldiers, driven by the memory of the man who'd given them a second chance. But still she mourned. Every time she looked up at the stars, her thoughts drifted to that storm-wrapped valley, to the man who walked into death so she and her children could live. Talon Vance. Until the day the encrypted message arrived. It came through an old Federation channel, one she had almost forgotten. Scrambled, hidden behind layers of military code. The moment she decrypted it, her hands trembled. Snow melts. Fire leaves ash. You're not done fighting, and neither am I. The stars aren't safe yet, but they will be. Tell Milo he's aiming too low with that plasma rifle. And tell Kira she's smarter than all of us. Stay warm, princess. TV. Tears welled in her eyes. He was alive. Not dead. Not lost. Operating in the shadows. A ghost to the Empire, a whisper to the weak. She didn't tell the Federation. She didn't tell the Council. She only told her children. Milo whooped. Kira cried. That night, they lit a single beacon flame on the balcony of the royal house. Just one. And far beyond Nereth, on a rogue ship painted black with no insignia, a man watched it flicker through a long-range scope. Talon smiled. Then vanished again into the stars.